Hey everyone. Before I get actually started with the content of my podcast, I'm dedicating this to three people. First, Nat Turner, who was executed by hanging on November 11th, 1831, and then his body was flayed and beheaded as a warning to other enslaved people. He was an abolitionist. Second would be Denmark Vesey. He was captured, quickly tried without proper defense, and executed by hanging because he wanted to free slaves. Last and not least is Charles Deslandes. He tried to free slaves. He was an abolitionist, and his rebellion was brutally suppressed by local militaries. And he was captured, tortured. His hands were chopped off and his legs were broken, and then was shot and burned to death by a firing squad without a trial. So I'm dedicating this podcast to those American citizens who were murdered because they wanted to be free. And yeah, they were citizens. So today is Juneteenth. On June 19th, 1865, it was a day that enslaved black people in Galveston, Texas, finally heard the news. The war was over. They were free. But that was 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. 2.5 years. Today we honor that day. But we don't sugarcoat what came after it. And also what came before it, as I talked about in the beginning, who I'm dedicating this to. Just because freedom was announced, it was never fully delivered. And understanding that gap is how we understand everything happening right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in this country that shouldn't. And the marathon continues, as Nipsey Hussle would say. So again, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, and read a general order. It said all slaves are free. And the people who heard it wept, celebrated, fell to their knees. But what they didn't know, as I said earlier, the land they'd worked for generations, gone. Back to the former owners. The mule and 40 acres, now that was revoked by Andrew Johnson 6 months later. The good brother Frederick Douglass said, the man who has suffered the wrong is the man to demand redress. He was right. And he basically spent the rest of his life demanding it. Because what was given with one hand was taken back with the other. And it's just pure evil. And the evil continues today. Now let's run the pattern forward. 1865, freedom was announced. Black codes introduced within months. 1920, Black Wall Street, thriving in Tulsa, Oklahoma, burned to the ground in 1921 by an angry mob of white people. 1964, Civil Rights Act passed, but Redlining continued for years and is now legal again because of the Supreme Court and awful people that are in these state legislators, including all the governors that approved it. 1968, Fair Housing Act passed. Predatory lending filled the gap. 2008, housing crisis hits. Black homeowners lose wealth at twice the rate as white homeowners. The pattern is not random. Every time black people built, there was a response. Every time freedom was extended, it was also constrained. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Let me say that again. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, who was a Stoic, if you didn't know that, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Apply that lens to American history and then ask, what was right? What was true? So Juneteenth is not just a day off. It's not a day to have a cookout. It's a doggone reckoning. It demands we look clearly at where we came from, that we honor the people who survived what was designed to destroy them, and that we carry their endurance forward, not in their victimhood. No, sir. There is a difference between victimhood and endurance. Victimhood says, look what they did to us. Endurance says, look what we built anyway. The men and women of Reconstruction, in the face of terrorism, in the face of stolen land, in the face of every broken promise, they built schools, they ran for office, they published newspapers, they organized churches, and the list goes on. Listen, Psalm 126 verse 5 says, "Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joys." They sowed in tears. What are we doing with what they sowed? Here's what the data tells us. Every indicator of the Moral Decay Index has a historical root that connects the broken promise of Reconstruction. Church attendance down? Well, the black church was the center of community and resistance. Still is. But when the church weakens, the community weakens. Violent crime elevated? Strip a community of generational wealth, stable employment, and functional schools, and watch what rises to fill the void. Trust in government at historic lows. Ask yourself why. Not from cynicism, from history. History has told us that we can't trust the government. The Moral Decay Index is not just tracking numbers. It's tracking the long-term consequences of a freedom that was announced and never delivered. Today, honor them. Honor the people who heard that announcement and chose to believe it anyway, who built on broken ground, who refused to let the announcement be the last word. Honor them. Because the announcement isn't the last word. what you build is. I'm David from the Dark Reckoning channel, and this is my podcast, the Moral Decay Index Podcast. You can check out my website, themoraldecayindex.com, and you can follow my YouTube channel. You're obviously on it, and it's Dark Reckoning 68. And remember, the debt comes due, and the time is ticking on this country to pay the debt that it owes the ancestors of enslaved people. You know better. Do right. Do right. Make sure that you are living in the word of God that you claim, that some of you claim that you are in. But I can't tell by some of our leaders right now. The same Bible that they claim is theirs, they're not obeying it. They've got all kind of scandals, affairs. I'm not saying everybody's perfect. People have messed up. I've messed up. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person. But what I am saying is that I am a descendant of those who were enslaved. I am a descendant of those who were treated harshly, and the harsh treatment continues. It's not equal. If you want to have actual reconciliation, reconcile yourself for what your ancestors did to mine. Understood? God bless you. Love you. And I have no, what's the word I want to look for? I have no anger towards any man. My anger is towards the sin that was created on my relatives, on my ancestors. God bless.